So Jennifer Lopez's recent divorce from Ben Affleck has significantly impacted her public perception,
Because I didn't think much of myself. And so the world didn't think much of me.
with media narratives often portraying her as a narcissist and a diva. Now, we dove deep with OneClick's consumer insight engine. All right. This tool basically analyzed over 700 comments found on Reddit over the last year, in particular about Jennifer Lopez, Ben Affleck, and her partner choices. We wanted to understand what is the public perception for Jennifer Lopez.
There's always a thing that you don't see coming.
And personally, I recently watched Halftime on Netflix. I watched the Prime documentary, This Is Me Now, and I have a lot to say about it, okay? So the public view on her personal life and professional decisions, as well, how she can improve her reputation, is all going to be covered in this segment. All right, the first thing we want to know is, first of all, how is Jennifer Lopez's divorce from Ben Affleck being reported in the media?
It's official. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck have called it quits on their second time at love.
How are people describing the dynamic of Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck's marriage? Okay. What have we discovered pooling all of these comments that, the Consumer Insight Engine helped us to find out? Number one, the top insights is in questioning the credibility of the sources. Now, many comments about the reality of the sources, like In Touch Weekly and Page Six, all these celebrity tabloids, these outlets continue to shape public opinion with sensational stories.
It's such a meta story, right?
All right. So a lot of people are getting their news from these outlets. In fact, we report a lot on what these outlets often share. What is noted as well is there's incompatibility. The relationship is frequently described as a mismatch, okay, with Lopez's need for public attention clashing with Affleck's desire for privacy.
I said, listen, one of the things I don't want is a relationship on social media.
It's a well-known fact and a public fact because he even mentioned it in the documentary that they have a very different view about privacy, okay? For him, he prefers to be out of the limelight. He does not want his personal life talked about. And one of the conditions that he had said he wanted to apply before he married her was, I don't want to put our relationship on social media. And then he also compared it to saying, I can't really marry a, captain of a boat and say, I don't like water, or I don't want us to ever be in the water. Maybe that wasn't the exact comparison, but it was something along that effect. And he had to agree or just literally put aside his need for privacy by being with Jennifer and understanding that she is a public figure and she actually doesn't mind and likes to be in the media. I don't know if she thrives in it, but from my understanding, she's used to fame. She always wanted to be the best at whatever it is that she was going to do. And she wants to use her voice, her image, her talents to make an impact, right? To inspire others. Particularly, I really enjoyed Halftime, by the way. A lot of people complained, or the sentiment about her in Halftime was very mixed. There were her fans that think it was very, very inspiring, and others who looked at her in a negative light, thinking that, she wasn't authentic. I tend to agree with the side that she was inspiring. She's a hard worker. We got to know what she was like, what she cares about. I thought it was inspiring. I am a fan of it. I double liked it, actually. So for me, the Halftime special was a thumbs up for me, okay? And I was able to see a side of Jennifer and understand a side of Jennifer that I wasn't aware of, okay? So now, unfortunately, there's a lot of perceived inauthenticity, okay? So a lot of comments revolve around and highlight that Lopez's recent projects, including her documentaries and the Netflix shows, come across as vanity projects that fail to resonate with the audience. Now, of course, these are based on opinions of around 700 people from Reddit over the last year that are talking about Jennifer Lopez, in particular, her personality, her character, and her relationship choice with Ben, okay? And they also bring up other relationships. So there's a lot of people sort of thinking that they're not really seeing the sincere side. Once again, my opinion is there was authenticity within those documentaries and any of the, projects that she tried to showcase what she cared about. I got to know a side of her that I didn't know, and I think she showcased a lot of vulnerability. And at the same time, I can see where people are thinking or seeing the diva, the perfectionist. We all have some types of narcissistic behavior or narcissistic traits. Just because someone, may seem to be narcissistic doesn't mean that they're always going to be that way, because frankly, a narcissist won't have empathy. A lot of narcissists are sociopaths, right? So you have to understand the real definition. They also talked about the relentless pursuit of fame. The public largely views Jennifer Lopez as someone who will go to great lengths to stay in the spotlight, and often at the expense of her personal relationships and public image. Now, once again, can you find evidence of her making sacrifices in her personal life because she wants to pursue her projects? Isn't that synonymous with a lot of successful people? Those who are climbing to the top, those who are performers, who are the top 1%ers, they're all a little bit crazy in a way that they are willing to go above and beyond and overwork themselves and exert. There's different people that adopt different ways of getting to success. And I'm not saying that Jennifer's way is the right way. In fact, you can see that she has struggled. There's a part where she's talking to her doctor and she's saying, I got to slow down. Like I think she had bronchitis or some kind of a issue with her throat. And the doctor was even saying, you have 3 full-time jobs. And she's like, I know. So she's acknowledging and recognizing that she's working her butt off. And so the public is also seeing that. And there's a lot of people on the side of saying, like, enough is enough. You don't need to go that far. Okay. Do you have $400 million? Do you have over 40 films and, Golden Globe nomination and awards for your craft? There is always a price to pay for your pursuit to happiness and fame. Another insight is the perceived talent gap. Now, this was interesting. Many comments suggest that Jennifer Lopez's singing and acting abilities are not on par with those of Beyonce or Shakira, leading to the perception that her career is driven more by her relationships and public persona. Now, I don't think it's fair. People are going to do what they're going to do. Again, these comments are from real people from many different parts of the world. They're, partially fans, partially critics, those who are just looking for an opinion or want to chime in. There's some Karen comments in here for sure, I got to say. But according to our chart and in the key themes that seemed to be ringing around these conversations, okay, the insights that we got from our consumer insight engine is that there's skepticism, incompatibility, perceived inauthenticity, this relentless pursuit of fame, and talent comparisons, okay? And actually, I'll supply the chart to show you the division and percentage of these perceptions. Now, let's talk about the distribution of sentiment as it pertains to how people are thinking about her. Is the tone positive? Is it negative? Unfortunately, 61.3% have a negative view and negative comments. 4.4% are mixed. 11.3% are positive. That's a smaller slice of the pie. And 23% are neutral. Okay, so this is interesting that as far as people's conversations around Jennifer Lopez, statistically, it's negative. It's 61.3% negative. And that's what we found across all of the various comments. Now, let's discuss the sentiment distribution across these themes. Again, when it comes to public perception, insert the chart. The public image is negative. The celebrity culture, negative. A lot negative. It's 61% negative. Okay. The personal dynamics, very negative. Okay. So people are not going to be looking to Jennifer Lopez for relationship advice. In fact, Jennifer Lopez is very vulnerable and clear and raw about the fact that she has had failed relationships. She also talks about how her failed relationships have greatly impacted her work. In fact, in one of the documentaries, there was a gentleman, I forget his name, but the first breakup with Ben when they were previously married supposedly was very devastating. She made herself wrong in that situation. Even in an intimate conversation between Ben and Jennifer in one of the documentaries, he said to her and asked her, "Do you completely forgive me? Have you forgiven me? Can you forgive me?" And she said, "I forgive you. And there's still things that I need to forgive myself for." She has often talked about her being successful in career, successful in music, successful in her craft, and yet she does indicate that she's been unsuccessful where it comes to love. She's had a lot of struggle in this area. And four failed marriages is, sort of evidence to that. But she knows this. The other thing that's true, which is really challenging for her and for many celebrities, a lot of people, the first thing they want to know is, who are they dating? What's going on at home? How are they like as a dad? Are they deadbeats? Are they nasty? Are they narcissistic? Are they greedy? Are they nice? Would it be fun to be their friend? Are they haters? Like, people want to know the inside and outs of relationships. When it comes to Jennifer Lopez, the thing is, they care more really about the drama and about what's happening in her love life than what's happening in her professional career. So we're going to move on to the relationship and personal dynamics of Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck in particular. The public perceives Jennifer Lopez's relationship with Ben Affleck as tumultuous and incompatible, often highlighting her controlling and narcissistic behavior as significant factors in these issues. Many believe that their relationship was driven more by nostalgia and public image than genuine compatibility. Now, I don't know that I agree that she's dating someone or going to marry someone because of her public image. I don't think that that's the case. In fact, she's always referred to Ben as true love, as her one true love. And, it was so devastating when they divorced. And she actually said for a long time she suffered afterwards. She said she couldn't even speak about it. It killed her inside. Her closest circle also talked about how much that relationship really caused a lot of pain for her. And it actually caused a lot of pain for both of them. They both admitted to having very painful situations. And of course, the comparison coupled with all of the people who are clearly right now, even present day, 61% negative. If she were to read some of these comments, and she's already, sensitive and impacted, that's why she definitely might have narcissistic traits, but she cannot be a narcissist because she wouldn't give a shit about any of those things, to be honest. She wouldn't care at all, okay? Your opinion doesn't matter when it comes to narcissists because their opinion is the only one that matters. And she's very introspective. She does do her best to try to understand what is happening in her own life when it comes to her personal relationships. You can clearly see there is an obvious struggle within her to try to find that out. And at the same time, whether she's aware of it or not, she actually makes some statements that for me as a relationship expert, as a matchmaker, can see, very clearly where their problems could exist. From the beginning of the documentary on Netflix, one of the things that she said was, my whole life, I've been battling to be heard, to be seen, to be taken seriously. And now I have this incredible opportunity to show the world who I am. And this is pertaining to the lead up to the biggest stage in the world, which is the halftime show, the Super Bowl, okay? How do I represent all of the things that matter to me? The world is listening. What am I going to say? Later on, she makes a statement about her mom being a strong, tough cookie. I don't ever want you to depend on a man for anything. She actually later even says that both her parents, her mom and dad, subscribe to this ideology, subscribe to this training and this education of her and her sisters to not ever need or depend on a man. And then she also said her mom beat the shit out of her. Like, that's Latino families, guys. I don't know if you can relate, but I know for me as a Filipino child of Filipino immigrants raised in Canada, in Western culture, I got my licks, okay? So I can relate to Jennifer in that way. Now, my parents had never told me that I don't need a man, you should never rely on a man. Those weren't the narratives or conversations that were shared with me. I'm sure if I had grown up listening to that, then I would look as all men as irrelevant, not useful, not to be depended on. Who cares if, I don't need you. And even present day in the relationship, she's like at the 400 million mark. Ben, it's no laughing matter for Ben reportedly at earning 150 million, or that's his net worth. There's still a disparaging number between those two. But she, as a Latina, a woman, well, born in America, right? But her mom is a Puerto Rican. So she does have strong Latin culture. She does speak her language. She does subscribe to and honor the fact that she is not American born, but she's happy and proud to be American. If you were growing up thinking as a woman that you don't need a man and you should never depend on a man, I would think that that's going to have some kind of impact in how you view yourself. The other thing that she noted in the very beginning is she talked about her sister saying her one sister is a singer. Her other sister was the smart one, and she couldn't sing. Okay, but where she got her love and interest in music and singing and dancing and theater and all those things is that she said that her mom loved musicals. Okay, and her favorite musical ever of all time was West Side Story. Okay, so because she was from the Bronx and she was describing the Bronx as being, brick and gray and brown and dull, like nothing exciting and vibrant, where the reason why West Side Story was her favorite is that, number one, Rita Moreno was the first role model. She wanted to be on the stage. She kind of fell in love with dance to start because of that. And at the same time, she could see herself after seeing that as somebody who could do all those things. So going back to the relationship dynamic, what are the top insights? Incompatibility. The relationship is frequently described as a mismatch, with Lopez's need for public attention clashing with Affleck's desire for privacy. I got to tell you guys, as a relationship coach, as a matchmaker who's been in the industry for over 32 years, a big reason for why couples break up, separate, is social media, is the distraction of social media, is the phone. It's a lack of presence. It's, prioritizing an Instagram reel or a YouTube channel over having a conversation with your partner, or sitting down to a meal and having to photograph everything before you eat it. And it's just like, there's no disconnect from social media. If one partner can't stand social media and respects privacy and wants to create boundaries around that, and the other person makes a living out of that, is being paid to perform and being paid to put themselves in public display, that is a mismatch. Okay, that's going to be tough to navigate. It's almost like a fundamental or foundational compatibility. It's a lifestyle question. It's a lifestyle compatibility. So that would have been extremely difficult to navigate in the first place, because it almost feels that Ben was just compromising. He really doesn't want it, like it. That's why he's so grumpy and crabby every time there's paparazzi around. That's likely why he's pissed. Doesn't necessarily mean he's pissed off at Jennifer, but it's just, stupid photos. Like, can't we just enjoy ourselves and be out of this limelight? And then she does this project all about her relationships and read Ben's love letters, and Ben's like, trying to be so supportive as a husband, saying it's her craft, it's her, he wants to support her in that way, and I understand. And he also says within the film, you don't have to do this. Like, you don't have anything to prove. You made it, babe. Like, you made it. What do you got to prove? And for Jennifer, because she's so self-driven, and this is, again, part of the self-love, the worthiness. Why was there this insatiable need? It's almost like a fixation. Like, I have to tell my story. People need to hear this. I want to help others. And in one way, she's like, it's worth it. It's worth it to risk it, because look at what's happened. Like, her actual second album isn't going off as well as it should. There's tons of critique. The sentiment is negative about what she's produced, and it's backfired on her. So if she wanted to do it for other people's praise, she's not getting it. But if she wanted to do it because she genuinely just wanted to share her story, whether or not the public liked it, and whether she can really acknowledge that, hey, it helped one person. In fact, it helped me. I liked her documentary. I saw countless valuable lessons and insights within watching her story, within listening to the dynamic, being behind the scenes of these, celebrities that are, at the end of the day, they're human beings. They are human beings. The fact that I am talking about her right now, I don't know if that's even good or bad, but, I'm reporting. I'm interested in it. I hope that you guys find some interest in this, but this is the insights that we are recovering right now. So the nostalgia-driven relationship, many believe their relationship was more about public image, we mentioned, and nostalgia rather than genuine compatibility. For example, this was always a PR relationship. Says many people, this is just for PR, blah, 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 blah. I don't buy that. I think there's more PR management, and PR for Jennifer is important, but she doesn't want people to be talking about her relationship. She wants to keep her private life private. Now, I think part of the motivator, if I'm going to use my logic and my experience as a relationship expert and a matchmaker as to why she wanted to share this story, it's because she just wants people to know that she loves love, and that, it's not her fault that these things happen. It's almost like needing to prove something to people. Jennifer, it's your relationship. It's your privacy. It's your one-on-one with your intimate partners at the time. I think it's great that you want to share your story. And, what's challenging, however, in sharing your story, you are hurting potentially the current present relationship. It goes completely against what your partner has said publicly about what he doesn't want to be, which is in the limelight, and you put him in the center of the limelight. So this is where it becomes an issue of who is more important. Is it more important to tell your story than to support your partner? Could you tell the story later or in a different way? I don't know. This is kind of the push-pull. This is the challenge, a primary challenge in the relationship and a primary challenge with what I can see, with what the public can see. If you watch her documentary, if you see that she has this feeling of unworthiness and never feeling good enough, and money does not make people happy. That is clear, okay? Because it's damaging to her. She does not like that people are talking about a relationship. I'm doing it right now. Sorry, Jennifer. I'm doing it right now. But in doing that, I'm coming from a point of, I'm trying to empathize with this person, with this woman, with you, Jennifer Lopez, whether you watch this or not, or you're going to hear about it, and with the haters or the lovers of it. I did read many positive comments as well. Again, they were not all negative. There were 11% of people on Reddit that had something nice to say, but maybe Reddit is the platform for people who want to look for drama versus really get an answer for something, or they just want to chime in. I don't know. That was just the one source that we pulled that's based on this video right now. So it's a pool of research that is based on Reddit comments. Okay. And then personal issues. Both Lopez and Affleck are seen as having significant personal issues. Let's not forget that Ben Affleck is in recovery, or was in recovery. I do not know if he's still sober. I don't believe there was any news about him falling off the wagon in any way. So as far as we know, he is still sober, not drinking, because he's working. He's working and he's working on his own projects. The public persona is that Lopez's tendency to make her relationships very public and use them for personal branding is frequently criticized. I call BS on that, okay? Yes, this is what is being talked about, but she has said she does not want, it's the public that's interested in her relationship. So she allows the people to get into her private life, because the true celebrity that she is, knowing her fans want that info and knowing that the fans care about her choices, she's making this available to them. She's making it her personal life be in public display. It's kind of like, if you can't beat them, join them. That's how I equate that. So the key themes around that is incompatibility, controlling behavior, nostalgia-driven relationship, personal issues, and public persona. What do you guys think about that so far? As it pertains to incompatibility and clashing personalities, again, the public perception is that this relationship is overwhelmingly negative, has been negative for a while, and not surprisingly so, because when she filed for divorce on the anniversary, from the 2-year wedding date, she actually cited that they were separated since April 26th. Of early this year. So at the end of April, May, June, July, even August, they haven't been together. They haven't been living together. Ben bought another property closer to his ex-wife. Nobody's talking about them getting back together, but there is speculation here that, there was jealousy as well in the relationship. I don't know if it was that Jennifer Garner was jealous or Jennifer Lopez was jealous. I didn't get the context of that. However, one user noted she's desperate for media attention and he's not this kind of person, encapsulating the general sentiment that their personalities and lifestyles are at odds. This mismatch is seen as a significant factor in the relationship instability, with another one stating he prefers to be more behind the scenes. Yes, he does. And the public often views their relationship as driven by nostalgia and public image rather than genuine compatibility. We covered that. Now, there is a lot of critique about Jennifer having and displaying controlling behavior, and many people are calling her narcissistic. I don't believe she's a narcissist, okay? Do I believe that there are times or behaviors where she could seem like she has some narcissistic traits? Yes, I think everybody does. If there are points and times where, I'm not going to get down the narcissism conversation, but the public's view of Lopez is that she's self-centered. She is demanding, compounded by anecdotes about her behavior, both in public and in rumors about her being demanding. She pushes people, no doubt. She's apparently when I say hard to work with, she pushes people as hard as she pushes herself. And what's funny is that I just read a post from Gary Vaynerchuk saying one of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make and business owners make is to expect and demand that people who are not earning as much as you to give a shit as much as you do. Okay, do they live in a $60 million mansion that you can push them that hard for them to want to tell your story? What are they getting paid compared to what you're getting paid? That kind of makes sense for me, right? So I can see where somebody who is working with Jennifer, who has this insane schedule, who has this undying work ethic, like you cannot say that this woman is not a hard worker. You cannot say that this woman does not have fucking drive. Like she is driven, she's hardworking, she's passionate, she's full of fire. I don't know what her sign is. She's 55 years old, guys. She looks fantastic. So like maybe that's one of the challenges, is that for her to relate to everybody like her and for everybody to care as much as she does, that I think is probably a flaw. Okay, because not even 1%, I don't even know if 80% of the population has that kind of work ethic. I have ADHD. I'm a workhorse. I work the same in a similar fashion. And I know people don't like that. People say, you need to calm down. You need to slow down. You need to it's too much for people. So that's a flaw that she acknowledges, but throughout the video and the show and the documentaries, you can see her pushing people really, really hard, pushing herself very hard. So the one thing is that she pushes people as hard as she pushes herself. Public persona and relationship branding, there's a tendency, Lopez's tendency to make her relationships very public and use them for personal branding is another frequent point of criticism. Yet I'm saying it's kind of reverse. I think it's the public that wants to know more about her personal relationships. So in a way, she feels an obligation to share that. One user mentioned she always comes off like she truly thinks she's superior to everyone out there, reflecting the perception that her relationships are often more about maintaining her image than fostering genuine connections. Again, these are comments written by people on Reddit, and sometimes it's cited from, Page Six or Daily Mail or any of the other outlets that cover celebrity relationships. So also, what is the credibility behind that? I do know who's saying it. We have all of the comments pulled together, but these are people in the public. So this is just a general sentiment of Jennifer Lopez, okay? So the key themes here is that there's some perceived inauthenticity, overexposure of her personal life, a lot of negative impact to her personal life, negative reception of the documentaries and the divorce complications. And so there you have it. This is part one. I think of maybe a 3-part series, because this report literally analyzed a year's worth of comments and conversations on Reddit posted through OneClick's consumer insight engine. So this video is partially brought to you and sponsored by OneClick through the consumer insight engine that we use to help tell our stories and also get ideas and share, what you guys are feeling. If you're watching, would love to know what your thoughts are on these comments and what the report tells us about what people are talking about as it pertains to Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. We will be back soon for part 2 and maybe part 3 of this conversation.